Admiral Kyomin stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the stars through the massive window. Her gray uniform was clean and sharp, matching her serious face. She had fought in 3 wars before this moment, but none as important as what was about to happen. "Admiral, the connection is ready," said Commander Jae-sung from behind her. He was young for his rank, but Kyomin trusted him completely. They had served together for 5 years. Kyomin walked to the center of the bridge, where a large blue circle glowed on the floor. This was the hologram platform that would connect her to the Galactic Council. She had practiced this speech many times, but her heart still beat fast. The air above the platform began to shimmer and change. Slowly, the forms of alien beings appeared like ghosts becoming real. There was Emperor Velthar, a creature that looked like a giant insect with black armor covering his body. His forearms ended in sharp claws, and his red eyes glowed in the dark. Next to him stood High Chancellor Mordex, whose body was made of living crystal that changed colors as he moved. The crystal being's voice sounded like music when he spoke. Behind them were dozens of other aliens, some with tentacles for arms, others with metal parts replacing their original bodies. Humans. Emperor Velthar's voice was deep and full of anger. "You dare to call this meeting? Your species has only been in space for 30 years. We have ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Kyomin did not move or show fear. She had expected this reaction. Dr. Hansol, standing beside her, gave her a small nod. The doctor had studied these aliens for years, learning everything about them while they ignored Earth completely. "We call this meeting to give you a warning," Kyomin said in a clear, strong voice. "The Sol system and all space within 50 light-years around it is now Terran territory. Any ship that enters without permission will be destroyed." The aliens began to make loud noises. Some laughed, others made angry sounds. Emperor Velthar raised one of his clawed hands and the room became quiet. "You think your primitive ships can stop our fleets?" the Emperor asked. "We have weapons that can crack planets in half. We have shields that can stop the power of our star. What do you have?" "We have given you the warning," Kyomin replied. "What we have you will discover if you choose to ignore it." High Chancellor Mordex's crystal body flashed bright red, which Dr. Hansol knew meant extreme anger in their species. "This is foolish beyond belief. We could send one small fleet and wipe out your entire species before your sun sets." "Then, send it," Kyomin said simply. The bridge became very quiet. Even her own crew looked surprised by her words. But Kyomin had planned this moment for years. Every human ship, every space station, every hidden weapon platform was ready. Dr. Hansol stepped forward. His voice was calm and scientific. "We have studied your empire for 30 years. We know how you think, how you fight, how you rule. You believe that bigger weapons and stronger shields always win. You are wrong. Humans," Emperor Velthar said, his voice now full of dark amusement. "You speak brave words for such a weak species. Your largest ship is smaller than our shuttles. Your most powerful weapon could not damage our weakest armor." "Size is not everything," Dr. Hansol replied. "Intelligence matters more." The Emperor's laugh sounded like metal grinding against stone. "Intelligence? You think you are smarter than beings who have conquered 1,000 worlds?" "We will find out," Kyomin said. General Mi Young, who had been watching from another part of the bridge, stepped into view of the hologram. She was shorter than Kyomin but looked just as serious. Her uniform showed the marks of many battles. "Your empire rules through fear," Mi Young said. "You take what you want and destroy what you cannot take. That worked against species who fought the same way you do. We are different." "Different?" High Chancellor Mordex asked, his crystal body now pulsing with purple light. "How are you different?" "You will learn," Mi Young replied. Emperor Velthar stood up from his throne, his full height showing through the hologram. He was twice as tall as any human and looked like a nightmare made real. "Very well, humans. You want to play with the adults of this galaxy. We will give you one standard cycle to withdraw your foolish claim. After that, we will come to your little territory and show you why every species in the galaxy bows before us. We will be waiting, Kyomin said. The Emperor's red eyes glowed brighter. When we are finished, your planet will be glass, and your species will be a memory. No one defies the Galactic Empire. Many have said such things before, Dr. Hansol said quietly. Yet here we stand. Not for long, Emperor Velthar replied. The hologram began to fade as the aliens ended the connection. Soon, only the humans remained on the bridge of their ship. The silence stretched for several seconds. Commander Jae-sung was the first to speak. Admiral, do you think we can really do this? Kyomin turned to look at her young officer. His face showed worry but also determination. She had trained him well. Jae-sung, do you remember what we learned in the Academy about Earth's history? Yes, Admiral. What happened when large, powerful armies invaded smaller countries that seemed weak? Jae-sung thought for a moment. Sometimes the smaller countries won by fighting differently. Exactly, Kyomin said. The Galactic Empire expects us to meet their fleets with our fleets, their weapons with our weapons. They expect a traditional battle. But we won't give them one, General Mi-young added. Dr. Hansol looked at the spot where the alien holograms had been. They see only our ship sizes and weapon power. They do not see our real strength. What is our real strength? Jae-sung asked. We think differently, Kyomin replied. For 3,000 years, every species that fought the Empire used the same tactics, the same strategies. They all lost because they tried to outmuscle a stronger opponent. And we won't try to outmuscle them, Mi-young said. We will outthink them. Kyomin walked back to the window and looked at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Empire was preparing for war. They would bring their massive fleets, their planet-killing weapons, their million-year-old battle tactics. They would find that humans had spent 30 years preparing for this exact moment. Every asteroid had been turned into a weapon. Every seemingly empty piece of space hid a surprise. Every human ship carried technology the aliens had never seen before. Send the message to all our forces, Kyomin ordered. Operation Terra Protocol is now active. Yes, Admiral, Jae-sung replied, his fingers moving quickly over his control panel. As the message went out across human space, Kyomin smiled for the first time that day. The aliens thought they knew what was coming. They were wrong. The war was about to begin and humanity was ready. 3 months passed after the warning. Fleet Commander Zix Thala stood on the command deck of his massive warship, watching the blue swirl of hyperspace through the main screen. Behind him, 999 other ships followed in, perfect formation. This was the third fleet of the Galactic Empire, and Zix Thala was proud to lead it. Each ship in his fleet was larger than the biggest human vessel. Each weapon could destroy a city. Each shield could stop a nuclear explosion. Sir, we will reach the edge of Terran territory in 10 minutes, reported his navigation officer, a tall alien with silver skin and 3 eyes. Excellent, Zix Thala replied. His own species looked similar to humans, but his skin was blue and his hands had 6 fingers each. He had fought in 50 battles and never lost one. Sir, should we send a message to the humans before we attack? Asked his weapons officer. Zix Thala laughed. Why waste time? They had 3 months to surrender. They chose to fight instead. The blue swirl of hyperspace began to fade. Stars appeared on the screen as the massive fleet dropped back into normal space. Zix Thala expected to see human ships waiting for them, arranged in desperate battle lines. Instead, he saw nothing. Navigation, confirm our position, Zix Thala ordered. Position confirmed, sir. We are exactly at the edge of Terran territory, 50 light-years from their sun. Sensors, scan for human ships. Scanning, sir. The sensor officer, a creature with 4 arms and 1 large eye, worked at his controls. Sir, I detect no ships within range. Zix Thala frowned. This was not what he had expected. Expand the scan. Look for anything. Sir, I detect some small objects. Asteroids, space dust, the usual debris, but no ships. Maybe they ran away, suggested the weapons officer. Maybe they realized they cannot fight the Empire. No, Sixthala said slowly. Admiral Kyo-min did not seem like someone who runs away. Keep scanning. They are here somewhere. On Earth, President Dong-hyun sat in his underground command center, watching the reports come in. The room was filled with screens showing information from across human space. Military officers and scientists worked at their stations, their faces serious but not worried. "Mr. President, the alien fleet has arrived," reported General Mi-young. She stood beside a large table that showed a map of the local area. Red dots marked the position of each enemy ship. "How many?" Dong-hyun asked. He was a quiet man who preferred to listen before speaking. 1,000 ships, sir. It's a large fleet, but not their largest. "They are testing us," Dr. Han-sol said from his position at a computer terminal. "They want to see what we can do before sending their main forces." Dong-hyun nodded. He had expected this. The Empire was careful, despite their pride. They would not risk everything on the first attack. "General, begin Phase 1, the President ordered. "Yes, sir." Mi-young turned to her communication officer. "Send the activation code to all gravity minefields." In space, the alien fleet moved forward slowly. They were still looking for human ships when the first surprise hit them. "Sir," the sensor officer called out suddenly, "I'm reading massive gravitational anomalies throughout the fleet." Before Zixathala could ask what that meant, the space around them began to change. Invisible fields of gravity stronger than anything near a planet appeared without warning. The fields pulled and twisted in different directions. The alien ships designed to fly in normal space were not built for such forces. Hulls began to crack. Smaller ships were pulled apart completely. Even the larger vessels shook and twisted as impossible gravity tried to tear them apart. "What is happening?" Zixthala shouted over the noise of his ship's alarms. "Artificial gravity fields. Sir, they're everywhere. Impossible. No one has that technology." "Sir, we're losing ships. The gravity fields are destroying our formation." Engineer Sang-ho watched from his hidden control station inside a large asteroid. His screens showed the alien fleet being torn apart by the gravity mines his team had spent 3 years building. The idea was simple but deadly. Humans had studied how the aliens' faster-than-light drives worked. Those drives used gravity to bend space and time. But the aliens had never thought to use gravity as a weapon. Each gravity mine was hidden inside what looked like a normal piece of space rock. When activated, it created a field of gravity thousands of times stronger than Earth's. The mines were scattered throughout the area like invisible traps. "Minefield Alpha is performing as expected," Sang-ho reported to his team. 97% effectiveness. "Should we activate Minefield Beta?" asked his assistant, a young woman named Sora. "Not yet. Let them think this is all we have." In the command center on Earth, the reports were good. The alien fleet had lost over 100 ships in the first 5 minutes. But President Dong-hyun knew this was only the beginning. "Sir, the aliens are adapting," General Mi-young reported. "They're changing their formation and moving more carefully." "As expected," Dr. Han-sol said. "They're smart. They will figure out how to avoid the gravity mines." "Then we move to Phase 2, Dong-hyun said calmly. "High above Earth's moon, Captain." Youngja received her orders. Her ship, the Silent Thunder, was unlike any vessel ever built. It was small, fast, and completely invisible to alien sensors. "All crew to battle stations," Youngja announced over the ship's communication system. "We are beginning our attack run." Her crew was small, but skilled. Tae-min, her weapons officer, had trained for 2 years to use the ship's special weapons. Navigator Sora had memorized every piece of space within 100 light-years of Earth. The Silent Thunder moved through space without making a sound or leaving any trace. The alien sensors designed to detect large ships with normal engines could not see it at all. "Target selected," Tae-min reported. "Large cruiser, position marked. Fire when ready," Youngja ordered. The weapon that fired from the Silent Thunder was not like any laser or missile the aliens knew. It was a stream of particles moving at nearly the speed of light, invisible until it hit its target. The alien cruiser's shields were designed to stop energy weapons and physical missiles. They were not designed to stop a stream of matter moving. at such incredible speed. The particles passed right through the shields and tore holes in the ship's hull. Direct hit, Taemin reported. Target is venting atmosphere. Excellent. Move to the next target. The silent thunder disappeared into space again, leaving the aliens confused and angry. They had not seen the attack coming, and they did not know where it came from. Fleet Commander Zix Thala watched his fleet suffer losses from enemies he could not see. The gravity mines were bad enough, but now his ships were being destroyed by invisible attackers. "Sir, we've lost another cruiser," his weapons officer reported. "No sign of the attacking vessel. How can they hide from our sensors?" Zix Thala demanded. "Unknown, sir. Our technology should detect any ship in space." "Sir," the communication officer interrupted, "we're receiving a message from the human planet. Put it on the main screen." President Dong-hyun's calm face appeared on the screen. Behind him, the humans could see their command center with its busy officers and glowing displays. "Fleet Commander Zix Thala," the president said politely. "I am President Dong-hyun of Earth. We offer you one chance to withdraw your forces from Terran territory." "You attack us with cowards' weapons," Zix Thala replied angrily. "Hidden mines and invisible ships. Where is your honor?" "Honor does not protect my people," Dong-hyun replied. "You came here to destroy us. We will use any method necessary to stop you. Your tricks will not save you. We have 1,000 ships." "You had 1,000 ships," the president corrected gently. "Now you have 873. How many would you like to lose before you leave?" Zix Thala's blue face turned darker with rage. "We will destroy every human in the galaxy." "You are welcome to try," President Dong-hyun said. "But, I should warn you, what you have seen so far is only the beginning." The transmission ended, leaving Zix Thala staring at a blank screen. Around him, his officers waited for orders. "Sir, what are your instructions?" the weapons officer asked. Zix Thala looked at the display showing his remaining ships. He had lost over 100 vessels and had not even seen most of his enemies. But he was a proud warrior, and the Empire did not retreat. "We continue the attack," he said finally. "Send a message to the Second Fleet. Tell them we need reinforcements." "Yes, sir." As the message went out across space, Zix Thala turned back to the battle. He did not know that the humans had been watching and listening to everything his fleet did. He did not know that they had prepared for exactly this response. The real war was just beginning. The Second Fleet of the Galactic Empire arrived 2 weeks later. Admiral Kethvar, who commanded the new force, was older and more experienced than Zix Thala. He brought 500 more ships and a reputation for never losing a battle. "Commander, Zix Thala," Admiral Kethvar said through the communication link between their ships. "Explain to me how you lost so many vessels to such a primitive species." Zix Thala's face showed embarrassment and anger. "They use weapons we have never seen before, Admiral. Gravity fields that appear from nowhere, ships that cannot be detected by our sensors. Gravity weapons are not unknown to us," Kethvar replied coldly. "We have fought species with such technology before. As for invisible ships, no vessel can truly hide from our detection systems." "With respect, Admiral, these humans fight differently than anyone we have faced." Kethvar's expression showed that he did not believe this. His species had gray skin and no hair, and his eyes were completely black. He had commanded fleets for 60 years. "They surprised you because you were not prepared. That will not happen again. We will advance carefully and destroy any hidden weapons before they can be used." But the humans had not been idle during the 2 weeks between attacks. Dr. Haewon, working from a secret laboratory deep underground, had been preparing her own surprise for the aliens. "The virus is ready," she reported to President Dong-hyun during their daily meeting. "It should be able to penetrate their computer systems without being detected." "How does it work?" General Mi-young asked. Dr. Haewon smiled. She was young for her position, but she was the smartest computer expert Earth had ever produced. "The aliens design their computer defenses to stop logical attacks. They expect their enemies to follow standard programming rules." "And we won't follow those rules?" the president asked. Human artificial intelligence is different from anything else in the galaxy, Dr. HFY explained. Our AI systems can be creative, illogical, even chaotic. The alien computers won't know how to defend against that. Show me, President Dong Hyun said. Dr. HFY activated a screen that showed a computer simulation. Watch this. Here is a normal attack on an alien defense system. On the screen, lines of code tried to break through a digital wall. The wall stopped them easily. Now watch this. Dr. HFY started a second simulation. This time, the attacking code seemed to dance and change shape. It found tiny holes in the defense that should not have existed. It grew and spread like a living thing. The alien computers try to predict what our attack will do next, Dr. HFY continued. But our AI doesn't follow predictable patterns. It learns and adapts faster than their defenses can respond. When can we use it? General Mi Young asked. The virus is already in position, Dr. HFY replied. It's hidden inside normal space communications. When the aliens try to scan our territory, the virus will enter their systems automatically. Admiral Kethvar did exactly what Dr. HFY expected. His first order was to perform a detailed scan of all human space, looking for hidden weapons and ships. Begin deep sensor sweeps, he commanded. I want to know the position of every human device within 100 light-years. Yes, Admiral, his sensor officer replied. The powerful scanning beams reached out from the alien ships, searching through space for any sign of human technology. The scans were so detailed that they could detect a piece of metal as small as a coin. What the aliens did not know was that the scanning beams also carried Dr. HFY's virus back to their ships. Sir, the sensor officer reported a few minutes later. I'm getting some strange readings from our computer systems. What kind of readings? Admiral Kethvar asked. Unknown, sir. The computers seem to be running processes that are not in our standard programs. Before the Admiral could respond, warning lights began flashing throughout the ship. The main computer system, which controlled everything from weapons to life support, started behaving in ways that made no sense. Sir, we're losing control of multiple systems, the engineering officer called out. How is that possible? Unknown, sir. The computer is running programs that shouldn't exist. On other ships throughout the fleet, the same thing was happening. The virus spread from ship to ship through their communication networks, growing stronger and more chaotic with each system it infected. Captain Youngjia watched the chaos from her invisible ship. Her screens showed alien vessels spinning out of control as their computers failed. Some ships lost power completely. Others began firing their weapons randomly into empty space. The virus is working perfectly, reported her communication officer, a young man named Minho. The alien fleet is completely confused. Good, Youngjia replied. Now we show them what else we can do. Taemin, target their command ship. Target locked, Captain. Fire. The particle beam struck Admiral Kethvar's ship, just as his crew was trying to regain control of their computers. The beam punched through the hull and destroyed 3 decks before the emergency systems could respond. Sir, we're under attack, the weapons officer shouted over the alarms. Return fire, Kethvar ordered. Sir, the targeting systems are not responding. The virus has infected our weapons control. Youngjia's ship fired again, then disappeared into space before the aliens could even attempt to shoot back. She had learned from studying their technology that alien ships needed several seconds to lock onto a target. Her ship could fire and move away in less than 1 second. While the alien fleet struggled with computer problems and invisible attackers, General Mi Young activated the next phase of humanity's defense plan. Lunar Base, this is Earth Command, she said into her communication device. You are authorized to begin artillery bombardment. Understood, Earth Command, came the reply from Commander Dongwu, who controlled the weapons hidden on the far side of Earth's moon. The moon's surface looked empty and lifeless to alien sensors. But hidden beneath the gray dust were massive railguns that humans had been building for 20 years. Commander Dongwu checked his targeting information one more time. The alien fleet was exactly where the computers predicted it would be. All batteries prepare to fire, he announced to his crew. Target the largest enemy vessels first. The railguns used magnetic fields to launch metal projectiles at incredible speeds. Each projectile was as large as a car and moved at 1/10 the speed of light. When something that heavy hit a target at such speed, the result was like a nuclear explosion without the radiation. Battery 1, fire. The first projectile crossed the distance between the moon and the alien fleet in less than 30 seconds. It struck Admiral Kethvar's command ship directly in the center, passing completely through the vessel and continuing into space. The alien ship broke apart like a toy hit by a hammer. "Direct hit," reported Dongwu's targeting officer. "Enemy command ship destroyed. Battery 2, fire. Battery 3, fire." More projectiles raced through space toward the confused alien fleet. Without their computers working properly, the aliens could not raise their shields or take evasive action. Ship after ship was destroyed by impacts they never saw coming. Commander Zixthala, now the senior officer in what remained of the fleet, tried to understand what was happening to his forces. "Sir, we've lost Admiral Kethvar's ship and 17 other vessels," his communication officer reported. "The attacks are coming from the direction of the human planet's moon." "The moon? That's impossible. Our sensors show no weapons installations there." "Sir, the projectiles are moving too fast for our sensors to track them properly. By the time we detect the launch, the projectile has already hit its target." Zixthala realized that the humans had been preparing for this war much longer than anyone in the Empire had imagined. Every part of their solar system had been turned into a weapon. "Send an emergency message to the First Fleet," he ordered. "Tell them we need immediate assistance. Tell them the humans are more dangerous than we believed." "Sir, our communication systems are still infected with the virus. I cannot guarantee the message will be transmitted correctly." "Try anyway." While Zixthala struggled to call for help, Dr. Hansol was analyzing the battle from his position in the Earth Command Center. "The aliens are learning to adapt to our tactics," he reported to President Donghyun. "They're starting to work around the computer virus, and they're changing their formations to avoid the railgun fire." "How long before they overcome our advantages?" the president asked. "Perhaps 2 days, perhaps less. They're smarter than we hoped." "Then we move to the final phase," President Donghyun said calmly. "Dr. Yuna, is your project ready?" Dr. Yuna looked up from her computer terminal. She was a small woman with large glasses, but her quiet voice carried complete confidence. "The harmonic disruptors are in position and ready for activation, but I must remind you that using them will reveal our most important secret." "Explain, for those who don't understand the technical details," General Mi Young requested. "All alien technology uses the same basic power source," Dr. Yuna explained. "We discovered that their power systems vibrate at a specific frequency. If we can create the right harmonic resonance, we can overload every alien power core simultaneously. That would disable their entire fleet," Dr. Hansol added. "But once they know how we did it, they will change their technology to prevent it from happening again." President Donghyun considered this information carefully. The silence on Commander Zixthala's bridge was complete and terrifying. Every screen was dark. Every light was out. Even the soft humming of the life support systems had stopped. "Emergency power!" Zixthala shouted into the darkness. "Someone, activate the emergency power." "Sir," came a weak voice from somewhere in the dark bridge. "Emergency power is not responding. All power systems appear to be completely dead." Zixthala felt fear for the first time in his military career. His ship was floating helplessly in space with no power, no shields, and no weapons. Around him, he knew that every other ship in the fleet was in the same situation. "How long do we have?" he asked quietly. "On emergency life support, perhaps 6 hours, his engineering officer replied. "But sir, emergency life support requires power, and we have none. Then we have maybe 2 hours before the air runs out." The same conversation was happening on every alien ship in human space. The harmonic disruptors had done exactly what Dr. Yuna promised. They had overloaded every power system in the alien fleet simultaneously. Emperor Velthar received the emergency message 3 days later. He was in his throne room on the Imperial capital world when the communication officer brought him the news. "Your Majesty," the officer said, bowing low. We have received a distress signal from the Third Fleet. What kind of distress signal? The Emperor asked. His massive insect body was resting on a throne made from the bones of defeated enemies. Sir, the message is unclear. It appears that both the Second and Third Fleets have been destroyed. Emperor. Velthar's forearms gripped the sides of his throne. Destroyed? By humans? That is impossible. The message mentioned some kind of weapon that disabled all power systems simultaneously. The fleet was left helpless in space. Where is the First Fleet? Already on its way to human territory, Your Majesty. Admiral Thexmore commands 2,000 ships, including the World Render. The World Render was the largest ship in the Galactic Empire. It was 10 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy an entire planet. Admiral Thexmore was the Empire's most experienced military commander. Send a message to Admiral Thexmore, the Emperor ordered. Tell him that the humans have weapons we do not understand. Tell him to be extremely careful. Yes, Your Majesty, but the Emperor was not content to wait. The idea that a species as young as humanity could defeat his fleets was beyond his understanding. He began calling in ships from across the galaxy. Summon the Fourth Fleet from the Rigel sector, he commanded. Recall the Fifth Fleet from the Galactic Rim. I want every available ship sent to human space. Your Majesty, that will leave many of our territories undefended. The humans are a greater threat than I realized, Emperor Velthar replied. If they can defeat our fleets, they can threaten the entire empire. They must be destroyed completely. Admiral. Thexmore was different from the commanders who had come before him. He was old, careful, and had fought in more wars than any other officer in the Empire. When he received the Emperor's warning, he immediately changed his battle plan. Stop the fleet, he ordered. Full halt at the edge of human territory. Sir? His navigation officer asked in surprise. We are ordered to attack immediately. We are ordered to destroy the humans, Thexmore corrected. But first, we must understand what happened to the fleets that came before us. The Admiral was a member of a species that looked like tall, thin humans with silver skin and large black eyes. His people were known for their intelligence and caution. Begin long-range sensor scans, he ordered. I want to know everything about human space before we advance even 1 kilometer. The scans revealed something that shocked Admiral Thexmore. The remains of the Second and Third Fleets were floating in space exactly where they had been when the power failure occurred, but the human ships were nowhere to be seen. Sir, we're detecting life signs on many of the disabled vessels, reported his sensor officer. The crews are still alive? Yes, sir. Weak life signs, but alive. How long? Have they been without power? Based on the distress signals, approximately 72 hours. Admiral Thexmore was confused. If the humans had defeated the alien fleets, why had they not destroyed the ships completely? Why leave the crews alive in disabled vessels? His question was answered when a human ship appeared on his sensors. It was small and moved slowly, clearly not a warship. As he watched, the human vessel approached one of the disabled alien ships. Sir, the human ship is docking with one of our disabled cruisers. Are they boarding the ship? Unknown, sir. The docking procedure appears to be peaceful. Admiral Thexmore had never heard of anything like this in all his years of warfare. Open a communication channel to the human vessel. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship, his communication officer reported. Put it on the screen. A human face appeared on the main display. It was a woman in a medical uniform, and she looked tired but determined. I am Dr. Su Jin of the Earth Medical Corps, the woman said. We are providing emergency medical assistance to survivors of the disabled vessels. You are helping our crews? Admiral Thexmore asked in amazement. We are helping injured people, Dr. Su Jin replied simply. That is what doctors do. But we are your enemies. You are injured people who need medical help, the doctor said. We can discuss politics later. Admiral Thexmore ended the communication and sat back in his command chair. In 60 years of military service, he had never encountered anything like this. Sir, what are your orders? His weapons officer asked. Before the admiral could answer, another communication came in. This time it was from Earth itself. President Dong Hyun appeared on the screen looking as calm as always. Behind him, Admiral Thexmore could see the human command center with its busy officers and glowing displays. Admiral Thexmore, the president said politely. I am President Dong Hyun of Earth. I believe we need to talk. You wish to discuss surrender terms? The admiral asked. I wish to discuss ending this war before more people die unnecessarily. You have defeated 2 of our fleets, Admiral Thexmore said carefully. But I have 2,000 ships. Our largest dreadnought alone could destroy your entire planet. Your largest dreadnought uses the same power systems as every other ship in your fleet, President Dong Hyun replied calmly. It would be disabled just as easily as the others. You are confident in your weapons. I am confident that this war benefits no one, the president said. We have disabled your fleets, but we have not killed your crews. We are providing medical assistance to survivors. This should tell you something about how humans fight. Admiral Thexmore was quiet for several seconds. Everything about this conflict was different from what he had expected. What do you propose? He asked finally. Meet with me, President Dong Hyun said. Come to Earth with a small escort. I will guarantee your safety. We will discuss how to end this war. And if I refuse? Then you will join your predecessors floating helplessly in space, the president replied without emotion. But your crews will still receive medical assistance. Admiral Thexmore realized he was facing something completely new in his experience. These humans fought differently, thought differently, and even showed mercy differently than any species he had encountered. I will consider your offer, he said. Admiral, President Dong Hyun added before ending the transmission. You should know that Emperor Velthar is sending more fleets. Our sensors detect the 4th and 5th fleets approaching from different directions. Do you really want to lose 6 fleets instead of 2? The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Thexmore alone with his thoughts. Sir, his sensor officer reported. We're detecting massive gravitational anomalies throughout the area ahead of us. The same weapon that destroyed the other fleets? Possibly, sir. But these readings are much stronger. It appears the humans have been preparing for our arrival. Sir, his communication officer added. We're receiving messages from the 4th and 5th fleets. They're reporting the same sensor readings in their areas. Admiral Thexmore understood what this meant. The humans had not just defeated 2 fleets by luck or surprise. They had been planning for a much larger battle. They were ready for everything the Empire could send. Sir, what are your orders? His weapons officer asked again. Admiral Thexmore looked at the display showing the disabled ships of the previous fleets. He thought about the human doctor who was risking her life to help alien crews. He thought about President Dong Hyun's calm confidence and strange offer of peace talks. In 60 years of warfare, he had never faced an enemy like this. Send a message to the 4th and 5th fleets, he ordered. Tell them to halt their advance and wait for new orders. Yes, sir. And prepare my personal shuttle. I am going to Earth. His officers looked shocked. Sir, that could be a trap. Everything about this war has been a trap, Admiral Thexmore replied. But perhaps it is time to learn what these humans really want. As his shuttle prepared for the journey to Earth, the Admiral wondered if he was about to make the biggest mistake of his career, or the wisest decision of his life. He would soon find out which. Admiral Thexmore's shuttle approached Earth slowly, escorted by 2 human ships. Through the window he could see the blue and white planet that had somehow defeated the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Sir, we're being guided to a landing platform on the planet's surface, reported his pilot, a young officer named Kaelton. Any signs of weapons targeting us? The Admiral asked. None, sir. The humans appear to be keeping their promise of safe passage. The shuttle landed on a platform in the middle of a large city. Admiral Thexmore could see thousands of humans going about their daily lives, seemingly unaware that their planet was at war with a galactic empire. President Dong Hyun was waiting at the landing platform with a small group of officials. He walked forward as the Admiral emerged from his shuttle. Admiral Thexmore, the President said, extending his hand in the human gesture of greeting. Welcome to Earth. The Admiral hesitated, then reached out with his own hand. The handshake was firm but not aggressive. President Dong Hyun, Admiral Thexmore replied. You are braver than I expected, meeting an enemy commander in person. You are not my enemy, the president said simply. You are someone I hope to make into an ally. They walked together toward a large building. Admiral Thexmore noticed that the human guards carried weapons, but those weapons were not pointed at him. Your people seem very calm for a species at war, the admiral observed. My people trust their leaders to protect them, President Dong Hyun replied. They go about their lives because they know we are handling the situation. And how exactly are you handling the situation? By trying to end it without more unnecessary death. They entered a conference room with a large table and comfortable chairs. Dr. Hansol and General Mi-young were already there, along with several other human officials. Admiral Thexmore sat across from them, feeling very alone. Admiral, President, Dong Hyun began, let me be completely honest with you. We can defeat every fleet the Empire sends. Our technology is specifically designed to counter yours, but victory is not our goal. What is your goal? Survival, Dr. Hansol answered. We want to live in peace. We have no interest in conquering other worlds or ruling over other species. Then why did you claim so much territory? Admiral Thexmore asked. Because we need room to grow, General Mi-young explained. Our population is expanding and we require resources, but we are willing to share those resources with allies. Admiral Thexmore was confused. You offer to share territory you claimed by force? We offer to work together instead of fighting, President Dong Hyun said. Admiral, may I show you something? The president activated a holographic display that showed a map of the galaxy. The admiral could see the territory of the Empire marked in red, human space marked in blue, and vast areas marked in black. What are the black areas? The admiral asked. Dead space, Dr. Hansol replied grimly. Sectors where entire civilizations have vanished. We believe something is coming from outside our galaxy, something that destroys everything in its path. That is impossible. Nothing exists beyond our galaxy. We thought the same thing, Dr. Hansol said. But our deep space sensors have detected artificial structures moving between galaxies. They appear to be machines of some kind, and they are heading toward us. Admiral Thexmore stared at the display. The black areas were larger than he had realized, and they seemed to be growing. How long do we have? He asked quietly. Perhaps 50 years before they reach the outer edge of our galaxy, Dr. Hansol replied. Maybe less. And you believe we should work together to face this threat? Admiral, President Dong Hyun said seriously, your empire has the resources and experience to organize a galactic defense. We have new technologies and new ways of thinking about problems. Together, we might have a chance. Apart, we will all die. Admiral Thexmore sat in silence for several minutes, thinking about everything he had learned. Finally, he looked up at the humans across the table. What exactly are you proposing? A treaty, General Mi-young said, sliding a document across the table. An end to hostilities between our species, recognition of Terran territory, and a formal alliance against external threats. Admiral Thexmore read through the document carefully. It was unlike any treaty he had ever seen. Instead of demanding tribute or territory, the humans offered technological exchange and mutual defense. You would share your weapons technology with us? He asked. We would share some of it, Dr. Hansol replied, in exchange for access to your manufacturing facilities and resources. And if the Empire refuses these terms? Then we will defend ourselves, President Dong Hyun said calmly. We will disable every fleet you send until you run out of ships, but we would prefer to work together. Admiral Thexmore realized that the humans were offering the Empire something it had never had before, a true partnership with equals. I do not have the authority to agree to such terms, he said finally. Then convince Emperor Velthar to come here himself, President Dong Hyun suggested. Let him see what we can offer. The Emperor will never agree to travel to enemy territory. Then meet him halfway. Choose a neutral location where we can all talk safely. Admiral Thexmore considered this. It was possible, though it would require careful planning. "I will present your proposal to the Emperor," he said. "But I cannot promise he will accept." "We understand," President Dong Hyun replied. "But Admiral, you should know that while we are talking, we are detecting more ships approaching our territory. How many fleets does the Empire intend to lose before it realizes this war cannot be won?" The Admiral knew the answer was probably all of them. Emperor Velthar's pride would not allow him to accept defeat easily. 3 weeks later, a meeting was arranged in a neutral star system halfway between Earth and the Imperial capital. Emperor Velthar arrived with a massive escort fleet, while President Dong Hyun came with a single ship. The meeting took place on a space station built specifically for the occasion. Both sides brought equal numbers of representatives. Emperor Velthar was even more imposing in person than in holographic form. His insect-like body towered over the humans, and his red eyes glowed with barely controlled anger. "So," the Emperor said, his voice like grinding metal, "these are the creatures who think they can challenge my empire. We are the creatures who already have challenged your empire." President Dong Hyun replied politely. "And we are the creatures, offering you a chance to end this war with honor." "Honor? You speak of honor after using cowards' weapons against my fleets?" "We speak of survival," Dr. Han Sol interrupted. "Your Majesty, the threat from outside our galaxy is real. We have proof." Dr. Han Sol activated a holographic display showing images captured by Earth's deep space sensors. The Emperor could see massive structures moving through the void between galaxies, structures that were clearly artificial, but unlike anything built by any known species. "What are those things?" Emperor Velthar asked, his anger replaced by concern. "We call them the harvesters," Dr. Hansel explained. "They appear to consume entire star systems, stripping them of all matter and energy before moving on." "How do you know this?" "Because we have detected the remains of other galaxies they have already consumed." Emperor Velthar stared at the images for a long time. Finally, he looked back at the humans. "And you believe we should work together to fight these harvesters?" "We believe it is our only chance," President Dong Hyun said. "Your empire has the ships and soldiers. We have new technologies. Combined, we might be able to develop defenses." "What kind of technologies?" General Mi Young answered. "Gravity manipulation, harmonic disruption, artificial intelligence that thinks in non-standard patterns. We can teach you these things." "In exchange for what?" "Recognition of our territory, an end to this war, and access to your industrial capacity." President Dong Hyun replied. Emperor Velthar was quiet for several minutes. His advisors whispered among themselves in their own languages. "I will consider your proposal," the Emperor said finally. "But first I want a demonstration of these technologies you offer." "What kind of demonstration?" Dr. Hansol asked. "Show me how your gravity weapons work. Show me how your harmonic disruptors function. Prove that your technologies are worth having." Over the next several days, human scientists demonstrated their weapons and technologies for Imperial observers. The aliens were amazed by what they saw. The gravity manipulators could create artificial gravity fields anywhere in space. The harmonic disruptors could disable any technology that used standard power frequencies. The human AI system solved problems in ways that seemed impossible. "Your people think differently than any species we have encountered," Admiral Thexmore told Dr. Hansol during one of the demonstrations. "That is exactly why this alliance will work," Dr. Hansol replied. "You have experience and resources. We have new ideas and approaches. Together we can solve problems that neither of us could handle alone." On the final day of the meeting, Emperor Velthar made his decision. "I accept your terms," he announced to the assembled representatives. "The Galactic Empire recognizes Terran territory and agrees to a formal alliance. The Treaty of Sol was signed by both leaders in a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Empire had an equal partner instead of a conquered subject. Captain Youngjai was among the first humans assigned to work with Imperial crews.